Let's wait for another couple of minutes so that
Okay.
more people can join.
Okay.
I think let's start. Um, Bismillah, walhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. I welcome you all to the 12th monthly lecture of Center for Peace and Global Studies, Islamabad. Please join me to warmly welcome our honorable guest speaker, Dr. Manzoor Khan of Ridi. He will be speaking to us on a very important topic today. Let me start with a quick introduction of Dr. Manzoor Khan. He holds a PhD and a postdoc in international relations. Currently, he holds a position of professor at the International Islamic University, Islamabad, where he is also the head of Department of Politics and International Relations. Dr. Khan has published many articles at national and international level. He is the editor of a journal, Political Review, and also serves in editorial boards of several other journals. He recently finished writing his book on Pakistan-China relations. He regularly speaks on media as analyst of current affairs such as at Al Jazeera, Voice of America, Pakistan Television, and Radio. In today's session, we shall have about 45 minutes of lecture, followed by any questions that you may have. You can ask questions by raising your hands or by writing them in the chat window. Now, without further ado, please welcome Dr. Manzoor Khan. He will be speaking on the topic of nation building, cohesion, and integration, opportunities and challenges for Pakistan. Please welcome Dr. Manzoor Khan. Sir, the floor is yours.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen.
Recording in progress.
Ala salatu wassalamu ala khatim al-nabiyyin wa al-aqibatu lil-muttaqin. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. All the participants of today's lecture, I'm grateful to the Center for Peace and Global Studies for inviting me here to deliver some thoughts with you people. I'm thankful to Sajjad Siddiqui Saab for having uh, uh, to organize this online lecture. Um, the topic is nation building, cohesion, and integration in Pakistan, challenges and opportunities. This is a widely debated topic throughout the world, especially here in Pakistan, because there are various approaches and understanding that what is nation or what is nation, a state or statehood, and what is the nation building. So this is important, especially in the current circumstances of Pakistan. If we see that half our country that is changing, or what kind of uh, unrest, the political instability, or some kind of, we can say, deprivation, or the case of national identity that is there in front of us. So that's why to have debates like nation building, I think it's very much necessary, and it's high time here for us being Pakistani to talk about and to have understanding of it. Many people, they confuse themselves by uh, the nation building and the state building. They often consider these two as one word. These are totally different. Nation building, it's different from the state building. So first, let's see uh, what is state building. Actually, state building is to enhance the capacity of a state to be sovereign within its territories, uh, to have strong institutions, politically, economically, culturally, religiously, ethnically, socially. It should be viable, to have a sense of cohesion, and the state institutions, they should be in a position to deliver. So that is a kind of general definition of the state building. So there are various efforts done by the interventionist for the state building. Of course, in a recent history, if we see, so after the World War II, have the United States and the allied vectors, I mean the British, the French, and the Soviet Union, they tried for state building in Europe and also in Asia. If you talk about the Europe, uh, when Nazi Germany unconditionally surrendered at the in 1945, so the U.S. and its allies, then they tried to demilitarize it and to have a new kind of state to be erected, to establish in Germany. So we know that Germany, it was divided among the allied powers, the British, the France, the US, and the Soviet Union. And they occupied different territories and regions of Germany, and they built it on new lines. After that, we also know about the Marshall Plan. So it was a huge amount which was released by the United States for the reconstruction of the war-torn Germany, war-torn Europe, especially the western half of the Europe. So it was an effort for the state building in Europe, particularly in Germany. Same is the case with Japan. So in Japan, we have seen, so after the atomic bombs falling on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, when Japan surrendered, so then United States solely occupied Japan, and then Japan was demilitarized. After that, we know that there was also the San Francisco Agreement between the United States and Japan in 1951. So the US also tried to have a new model of state in the post World War II, I mean for Japanese. So now we see Japan in a new way. I mean, it is not expansionist, it is not militarist, it has no military adventures in the post-World War II era. Now it's peaceful, it's developed, and it's technologically very advanced. So another thing, if we see in the same case, the Iraq invasion uh, by the US, I mean the interventionist policy of the United States, have the US intervened over there, and have the 2003 attack on Iraq. It was done by the Bush administration in US, and we know all the story. Uh, the glaring example, that's also Afghanistan, uh, that even the Soviet Union tried to modify it and to have a new kind of model. I mean, on the Soviet style, I mean the communist model, when it intervened over there in December 1979. So after that, we know the story, how the resistance, it was made by the United States, also Pakistan, and so many other countries in the shape of, guerrilla warfare. The Mujahideen, they fought against the Soviet forces. So Soviet Union tried for a nation, for a state building in Afghanistan, but it was failed. After that, Taliban or Mujahideen, they also tried to have their own kind of model. And especially when 9/11 attacks happened, and then war on terror started, the United States and the NATO forces, they came to Afghanistan. So again, we know the landscape in Afghanistan, that have it was tried an interim government. It was established in Afghanistan under Hamid Karzai, then the 2 terms of Hamid Karzai, then the 2 terms of Dr. Ashraf Ghani. So United States or its friends, its allies, they wanted to have a Western democracy and to build its institutions. Apparently, they wanted, theoretically, they wanted, but of course, it did not work. And we know the result of that state building in Afghanistan. No doubt that it's another issue to talk about, but my purpose here is to say that countries, they try to have state building, and often the major powers, the great powers, they have tried in the history of international politics or international relations, if we see over there. So these are the some examples from the Western Europe or Germany, Japan, and from Afghanistan, have they tried for state building over there. So somewhere those were successful, like in Germany, like in Japan, but in other cases, those efforts became unsuccessful, like in Afghanistan. So that is state building. Another thing, that is nation building. I think nation building, it's a wider concept, what I feel, than the state building, because even it's also confusing to have the definition of nation. Various scholars, uh, they have defined nation, in their own ways. Some, they believe in nationalism, that there should be nationalism for a nation to be unified, to be united. And then what kind of nationalism? Whether the pure nationalism based on ethnicity, language, territory, society, that's also possible. We have examples from the history. Uh, and another, that is the state nationalism, right? From the state side, that is another, that is the uh, nation state nationalism, especially after the Treaty of Westphalia of 1648. Now we are living in the era of the nation state system. So a nation state system, it's possible that a country has diverse people having different religious, ethnic, lingual, social, and cultural backgrounds, even economic backgrounds or political backgrounds, but still they consider themselves as one nation. So in this era of nation state system, Pakistan exists. We, here in Pakistan, No doubt that we have different languages, we have different ethnic groups, we have different almost different colors as well. We have different ethnicities, different political or economic backgrounds, but still we consider ourselves as Pakistani. So being Pakistani, it gives us what identity. So the nation state system, it has modified the long debated definition or understanding of a nation. So now that is then it comes in the shape of the national level nationalism. So then what is nation building? That is very much necessary. Uh, the developed countries, the developed nations, they have gone through so many upheavals, so many ups and downs in their histories, and they have touched the apex of the success or the development. What now we see them that they are developed. The Chinese nation, that is an example. Japanese nation is an example. Of course, Germans, that is an example. Uh, so many other countries, those are the example. Iran, that's also an example. Uh, but here for us, of course, we have so many challenges. So first to define that what is nation building. Nation building actually it is to have a sense of identity, common identity, and a sense of nationalism among the people who belong to different religious, economic, political, ethnic, lingual, and territorial backgrounds within a sovereign state who live, and they want to have shared sense of the development in their own country. They want to not to be deprived on the basis of the religion or sect or territory, an area, or their culture, or their any kind of background, language, or ethnicity. So then it's called nation building. Especially if we differentiate between this nation building between the Asian countries and the European states. I think in Europe, that was started from a state, then it moved towards nation. Sorry, in Europe, it was started from nations, then it moved towards state. So we know that the colonial powers, mostly they belong to the Europe. So they also wanted to impose their own living standards, their own lifestyle on their colonies as well. For example, uh, here in Pakistan, we have examples. The British colonies, they speak English language fluently. French colonies, they speak French. Spanish colonies, they speak Spanish language fluently, right? So it's a kind of influence what those colonial masters or colonializers they have on their past colonies. So in Europe, it was started from nations, that they were nations and they built their states for themselves. But in Asia, in the colonies are now in the decolonial period, what we see here in Pakistan, if we talk, so here that was started from state and it moved towards the nations. Like Pakistan was created in 1947. So it was created in the shape of a state. After that, we tried to have a sense of nation. So for the nation building, it's also necessary to have some kinds of symbols of unity, symbols of identity, like the national flag, national anthem, national curriculum, and so many other things. So then the rulers, they try to have their own kind of models, plans, plannings, and programs for nation building. In Pakistan, various rulers, they tried, starting from Qadi Muhammad Ali Jinnah, how he envisioned that what kind of system should be there. He has many quotes, but he also talked about the Islamic system, or to have that. Once it was asked from Qadi Azam that what kind of system you want for Pakistan. He said that, who am I to talk about this? It was decided already some 1400 years back. Um, in Islam, it was stated that the system, that is the Islamic system, that is based on Quran and Sunnah, like that. He has talked about democracy, that the democratic system is very much necessary. So these are the examples what I want to share with you, that even Qadi Azam tried to have a sense of nationhood and to build nation here in Pakistan. Nation building effort was started. After that, uh, the other successors of Qadi Azam, they tried, although it was not very much successful. General Ayub Khan, he has in his own way, and after that, Bhutto or Ziaul Haq or the other successors of Ziaul Haq, and even till now, even the General Pervez Musharraf, how he envisioned Pakistan, the enlightened Pakistan or moderated Pakistan, according to his own slogans, right? So these were the efforts for the nation building, uh, how to be done here in Pakistan. I think two approaches, those are also important to mention. One that is called the co-option, another that is called the deconstruction. So throughout the world, these two approaches have been applied in various areas in Asia, in Africa, in Europe. What is co-option? Co-option is when the intervening authorities, they try to make the already established institutions of a state more strengthened and stronger to deliver, and to assist them financially and through personnel and through capacity building. That is called the co-option approach of the nation building. Co-option approach of the nation building. Again, I would say, what is co-option? When the intervening authorities, they try to make the already existing institutions of a state more strengthened and stronger to deliver uh, in a good way. That is called the co-option approach of the nation building. Often UN forces, they have done, uh, Pakistan, that's also contributing one of the largest forces to the UN. So United Nations in Asia, like in East Timor, like in some other parts of Asia, in Philippines, and also in Africa, in Cameroon, and in Nigeria, in Sudan, and all these countries, United Nations peacekeeping operations were there, and they have delivered. So this is the co-option approach. Another thing, that is the deconstruction. And what is deconstruction approach? When the intervening authorities, they want to almost demolish the existing institutions of a state, and to transform them into new way. I mean, on new model. That is called the deconstruction process. Often, United States has done and has applied this approach of deconstruction for nation building. United States has done it in Vietnam, but failed. The 10 years long war in Vietnam from 1965 to 1975, United States was there not to build the Vietnamese society on communist lines, but to have, the Western democracy there, the democratic norms, the American values like that, but it was failed. Soviet Union and United States or its allies, they also tried to have this model in Afghanistan, but it failed. So that is the deconstruction model of the nation building. First, it is for the state building, and then, of course, it moves towards the nation building. Even uh, the American scholars, they also have criticized their own government and their own state, I mean, United States of America, not to have this viable approach in Afghanistan. Uh, Another thing, then I'm coming to Pakistan for challenges and opportunities and what we need to do about it. But to differentiate further, uh, one is evolutionary approach, another is a revolutionary approach. So evolutionary approach, irtiqa, that is that it is a slow process, and with the passage of time and learning from the history to develop a sense of commonness among its own fellow beings. That is the evolutionary approach, and it has been mostly successful in the European states, but also there are examples even in the non-European world for this evolutionary approach of the nation building. Another that is the revolutionary approach, and मतलब है इनकलाबी जो सोच है इनकलाबी approach है. Revolutionary approach is when the other intervening forces or authorities, they want to establish a new kind of model or a model according to their wishes. Like I mentioned about the US and Afghanistan, or Soviet in Afghanistan, or US and Iraq. So that is the revolutionary approach for state building as well as for the nation building. Now in Pakistan, uh, nation building efforts have been done. No doubt, even the state building efforts, those were there in Pakistan. Uh, and for the state building, of course, let me tell you that state building and nation building, those are also interconnected with one another. I mean that these support one another. For nation building, you have to be, to have a strong state, I mean state building. And for state building, of course, you have to be that sense of a nation and nationhood. So nation building is also necessary for a state. Uh, Developing cities, developing ports, I mean the infrastructure development, the jobs opportunities, employment, I mean, education, health facilities, and all others, what are the needs and facilities of a human being, those are necessary for state building, but these are also necessary for nation building. It brings what? It brings cohesion. And what is cohesion? Cohesion, that is the bond of oneness. That is the bond of, to be united, that we are one. Cohesion. And cohesion, that is also in many dimensions. I mean, social cohesion, religious cohesion, political cohesion, uh, and so on. Integration, integration that has also so many dimensions. I mean, the regional integration through, like nowadays China is doing through the BRI, Belt and Road Initiative. Here example is CPEC, China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. So the regional integration, also the political integration, the economic integration, and so on. So in Pakistan, what are the challenges for us for this nation building? I think one that is a necessary, that is the curriculum development. That is the one national curriculum. It has been the slogan of many political parties. Recently, the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf (PTI), that they were going to establish one national curriculum, but it failed. And when the one national curriculum, that is important for a country, not to have the sense of deprivation, that all the categories and strata of the people, they feel one, they feel united, they feel, that they are common, they share the same feelings and the same nationalism. So that is lacking in Pakistan. That's a challenge for Pakistan, how to tackle it. Of course, we have to do efforts. I mean, the rulers are representatives of the people who are there in parliament, they should work on it for to have more sense of nationalism in Pakistan. Another thing within this curriculum development or the national curriculum, what should be there? It is, I think, important question. So, sometime if you try to have a Western model or a communist model or a model from another country or maybe a military model or something else, so then it creates problems. Uh, that is necessary for uh, a curriculum, for national curriculum, that it should represent the wishes of the people. It should represent the history, the culture, and also the religion of the people. It should represent the aspirations of the people. So, curriculum, it should be in a way that it really construct a sense of nationalism and identity within its fellow beings. I mean, within the nation here. I mean, the Pakistani nation. Another thing that is for political cohesion, uh, of course, political stability is necessary. And for political stability, political awareness, political education, and the political system to be developed in a good way, that is necessary. But who will be ready? Uh, it is also a long process. I mean, it takes time. We have to educate ourselves. We have to educate our generation, our next generation, our youth, our young generation. We have to teach them about the political ideologies, political philosophies, Islamic political system, Western political system, communist political system, and all those things. I mean, the civic sense to be developed in them, that is necessary. Another thing, uh, that even political parties, they have to organize such kind of debates and such awareness, uh, especially in their own workers, that this is our state, and what I mean, what kind of politics we need here in Pakistan, and what is their agenda to reach the common people, the public, I mean, their own voters. So for political cohesion, this political awareness and political education is necessary. And the most important thing, particularly if I talk about the political parties of Pakistan, that is the democracy. I mean, the democratic trend that is negligible in Pakistan's, in most of the Pakistan's political parties. There are no intra-party democracy within them. So that's also important. Another thing, for nation building, that is the medium of instruction or the way of expression, way of communication. No doubt that Urdu, that is our national language, but unfortunately, uh, our official language, and we oftenly talk, I mean, especially the educated people, in English. We talk in English, we write in English, we express in English language, and now we are even so much used to that. Now English is easier for us than Urdu to write, to deliver, especially for educated people. So Urdu to be promoted more and more. I mean, if you want to have that nation building, it is just a step towards nation building, to have commonness and to be to be united. So that Urdu language, that it was also a fault line, and it was also a line of division between the East Pakistan and West Pakistan. You know about the Urdu and the Bangla language, Bengali language, the dispute, and how then Bangladesh was created. So that was also the sense of deprivation. Unfortunately, that how it was done. Uh, we know the story. Another thing, the infrastructure development. So in Pakistan, still there are some areas who are neglected, who remain backward. Many areas in tribal areas of Pakistan, many in, I mean, in ex-Fata, uh, particularly also in Balochistan and interior Sindh, and also in southern Punjab or some other areas, maybe in Gilgit-Baltistan. So infrastructure development is very much necessary, and those are roads or railway tracks or pipelines or the energy supplies. The industrial capacity to be developed, it is also necessary that we should try uh, to have this industrialization everywhere. Now, the tribal areas of Pakistan, those are merged with the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province. So those are called newly merged tribal districts of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. So those are rich in minerals. Balochistan is rich in minerals. Some other parts in Pakistan, those should be developed, and the those I mean the mines or other resources should be explored, and industries should be installed over there, that the people, they should not migrate and they should not go for employment, for jobs to other areas. The industrialization is important, but industries should be installed over there. So it will remove or it will minimize the sense of deprivation, and it will create more oneness and more national identity among them. Another thing that is what we have gone through and also going through now, that is the violence. So the violence is so much here, unfortunately, in Pakistani society. The political violence is there, religious or the sectarial violence is also there. After 9/11 and since the onset of the war on terror, we have seen an upward trend in this violence. So it is very much unfortunate, and we have to think about, we have to make our society, to make it on moderate lines. We should be moderated in this sense, that we should not go to one extreme. And what is necessary for this? I mean, the role of ulama, the role of the educated people, the role, I think, every person who belong to any sector of the life and any sector of Pakistan, they should try. For that thing, what is necessary, I think, narrative building, to build narrative, to teach our youth, even to debate and to increase dialogue with one another, not to discourage dialogue, but to encourage dialogue at every forum and at every platform, everywhere, through media, and even in our homes, in our schools, everywhere in our society, to have dialogue. And we should understand that only, I mean, the differences, that is not a rivalry. We can differ from one another on arguments, but it should be peacefully. And this, uh, for to be peaceful, I mean, peace education is also necessary. In many countries now, it is very much, a growing trend of peace education, that especially in the conflict areas and those areas which are war torn, or those areas where the post operation or the post conflict activities are going on. So peace education is also there. And even if sometimes the state institutions, they are not too much capable, or they are too much engaged in their activities, so the assistance of the non-governmental organizations, NGOs, and those can also be very much instrumental in this regard. So those have been working throughout the world, also here in Pakistan. So this peace education, I think, that is important. These are the, of course, we have some other challenges. The ethnic problem is also there, and I think the ethnicity or ethnic problem, it also emerges from the sense of deprivation. So the equal or the due representation or the sharing of resources and finances, that is significant step, and it is, I think, indispensable for the creation of a state and for creation of the nation, for the nation building. So that is also a challenge for Pakistan. And when we started even the China Pakistan economic corridor, or CPEC, so there were differences, and especially the provincial nationalist parties like the Awami National Party or Pakhtunkhwa Milli Awami Party, or some parties in Sindh, maybe the Sindh Kumi Mahaz or GSN like that, and some national parties of Balochistan, who believe in Baloch nationalism. They criticized over it, and they had different demands. And then all parties conferences, those were arranged by the then Muslim League Nawaz government, and the issues, those were resolved. So the ethnic problems in Karachi, in the shape of the Muttahida Qawmi movement, MQM, of course, it was there, and it can, the ethnic problems can create such kind of hurdles even in future if we don't think, if we don't plan for it today. About the these are the challenges. Of course, there are so many other challenges as well, but I think due to the shortage of time, I would not be able to talk about the opportunities. No doubt that we have too many opportunities, and it is without any exaggeration. ठीक है, किसी भी मुबालगे के बगैर मैं ये बात करूंगा. We have opportunities because we as a Pakistani nation, we can resist. We can resist the challenges. We can resist the hard times. And we have also done our, the forefathers, they have done. And many difficult times they have come over Pakistan. But the Pakistani as a nation, they have gone through, and they have, opened the door of opportunities, and they have tackled all these issues. What kind of opportunities we have? That we have youth, and we have more than 60% of youth who belong, I think, from the age of 14 or 15 to the age of, I think, 40 or 41. So that can be, transformed um, into more skilled, educated, and for a more dignified and united nation. Uh, our nation, it can be scaled through various programs. CPEC, China Pakistan Economic Corridor, that is also a huge project. We can take benefit from it if we really concentrate on it. And what is necessary for it? Of course, those areas must be prioritized, which are neglected, and which can take benefit from the CPEC. And another, that the transfer of technology, that's also possible through CPEC, and especially the 9 special economic zones under the CPEC, where 3 are prioritized. It can also help us not only to diversify the Pakistan's exports, not only to help Pakistan in making new markets in the world for its exports, but also for more Pakistani products, and even our industries, those can also be developed. But if we are really interested, if there is transparency, and if we really work on it, and it was a model where China has been developed after the 1978, the opening door policy of the dunk shopping, and China took start from these special economic zones and by the liberalization of its economy. Uh, Pakistan has opportunity if we see the geostrategic or the geographical position of Pakistan. Let me tell you that if Pakistan is not a political power, I mean power in its political dimension, if Pakistan is not an economic power, but it's true that Pakistan is a strategic power, as power in terms of its geography or geographical power. So if uh, the superpowers, if the regional powers, major powers, they want to come here and they want to have partnership with you, it's not because of your economy or politics, it's because of your geography. So we have seen throughout the history of Pakistan, the alliance of Pakistan with the US, the SEATO and CENTO, and the afterward story, the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan, Pakistan's role over there, and the recent war on terror, where Pakistan played the frontline state role like this, and the non-NATO ally status, what was given by the US to Pakistan, and all these things, and even now the CPEC. So these things are because of Pakistan's geography, how Pakistan shares, its coastal line, the Indian Ocean or the Gulf of Persia, the Persian Gulf, and Pakistan is at a juncture. I don't want to go into detail, but that is at a juncture where on the one side there is West Asia or Middle East, and on the other side East Asia and other South Asia, and on the other side that is Central Asia in the CASA project or TAPI project and so many others. So these are the things where what we need political stability, we need political will, that really we want these projects to be completed, and we bring prosperity, economic prosperity, political prosperity, and also prosperity as a Pakistani nation, that we are one, and nation building is very much necessary here in Pakistan. We have problems, we have fault lines, but those can be overcome, no problem, if we are committed, if we have that sense, and if we really work for Pakistan, if we really work for our own fellow being, and if we really work for ourselves as Pakistani. Jazakumullah. Thank you very much.
Jazakumullah khair. Thank you very much, Professor Khan, for giving us such important lessons. We have several questions from Saira Rahman from Punjab School. Saira, would you like to ask questions directly, because maybe some of your questions might have already been answered? Could you please unmute yourself? Okay, I think I can read some of those questions. The first one is, peace education is conducted by whom in Pakistan? Any institution in Pakistan who is providing peace education?
Should I answer now?
Yes, please.
I think peace, what I know, as far as I know, peace education has not been started by any school or any institution in Pakistan uh, on, for a long time period. But what I know, that there have been conferences and workshops done by the Pakistani institutions as well as by the non-governmental organizations on peace education, on the importance of peace education. Another thing, peace education that has been taught and that is being taught in Pakistani universities, where there is peace and conflict, Department of Peace and Conflict Studies, PCS, whose are there. And I think this PCS, it has been now, I think some in 5, 6, or 7 universities of Pakistan. So peace education is there as a course.
Okay, so the next question is, political education, our system is appropriate to be taught at school level. Is it appropriate to be taught at school level? If yes, then from which level? Any space is given in single national curriculum pertaining to it?
I think the political education, it can't be, I think we can't teach at school level, in a regular or in a planned way, like in colleges, but especially in universities, what we teach. But at least at school level, we can have some fundamental points to introduce with our children. I mean, about the civic rights, about the responsibilities, about the even starting from home, that what kind of responsibilities we have and what we can do for our state. And this is our state. This is, if this state is there, so we are there, like that. I mean, to create more nationalism or more sense of the nationhood. So not in a in a regular way what we teach in universities, but at least an introductory type of some fundamental level of political education. Yes, we can start in our schools.
Another question regarding school. Please suggest some strategies to establish and strengthen nation building at school level.
Okay, at school level, that's, I think, very fundamental question. The one thing for that, single national curriculum is important. And as I mentioned, these are the efforts done by uh, various rulers in Pakistan, various governments in Pakistan, but partially succeeded, not successful. So a well-planned mechanism program is necessary. So single national curriculum is important. One. Second thing, the teacher education. Teachers trainings and workshops. Those are necessary for for more nation building, and they should be introduced and they should be equipped with all those instruments which are necessary for nation building. I mean, sense of nationalism and the common national identity. Third thing, what is necessary to have regarding this question, that is the to remove or to minimize the sense of deprivation. So if we are here in Islamabad, no doubt that we have facilities, right? But if I'm Islamabadian Pakistani, I can be Baloch Pakistani, and I can be Sindhi Pakistani, and so on. So we have also to keep in mind those areas where there is no electricity, no roads, no hospitals, no educational institutions, no job. So that's also important. That's why that is very much fundamental and important step to remove sense of deprivation and to bring prosperity, I mean infrastructure development. Then those schools or those teachers or those children who study there, they can perform and they can have that kind of nation building what we want.
Okay, another question. In our case, in case of Pakistan, we are not successful in both domains, neither in nation building nor in state building. Please suggest some integrated approach for real success.
I think it's a very big question. If I start, so it will take more time. But at least what is necessary, I think we have to start from ourselves. And I mean that everybody should think that what I can do for Pakistan, one, and what I can do for my fellow being, my friend, my another Pakistani too. So then we can move forward. Here, the thing that is that we look to other people that he is doing like this, I should also do. I mean, if I talk politically, right, that political party is doing that has been done by him or that political party. So why should not I? So that is the problem. I think that even if institutions they are not ready, it is just an example. So we should be ready. Being Pakistani, uh, we have example of China. Just a little bit of, if I tell you, even Allama Iqbal ने फरमाया था कि गिरां खा बचीनी संभलने लगे हमाला के चश्मे उबलने लगे. So Chinese nation, they were addicted to opium. And there was also an opium war between China and UK in 1840, 1839, 40, 41, where after that UK also colonized the Hong Kong, and Chinese nation that was addicted to opium. But we know that after that half Chinese nation, they struggled first against the Japan. I mean, in 1895, there was the Boxer Revolution and the conflict with Japan. And after the Dr. Sun Yat-sen, how he mobilized the nation, and especially the Chinese nation, they supported him. And then they abolished monarchy, kingship in China in 1911. And then Communist Party, it was established in 1921. And then both parties, the Nationalist Party of China under Sun Yat-sen and the Communist Party of China under Mao Zedong, they fought together against the Japanese occupation. And then from 1945, then they fought with one another. So then in 1949, we know that half Chinese nation, they brought revolution under the leadership of Mao Zedong. And then after 1978, half China is developing, right? So now China, that is the second largest economy of the world, and now China is a power. So what I think, मेरे ख्याल में जिस तरह चीनी थे and the Chinese nation was there at that time, Pakistani उस तरह नहीं है. Pakistanis are far better. We can do if we have will, and if we really look, and we really took start from our own selves.
For any other question from any other participant, please raise your hand. Okay, while we wait for questions, we were discussing single national curriculum. Whenever there is an effort on single national curriculum, all the focus is on producing some textbooks. Do you think it's a very narrow approach to curriculum? Like, if we can just produce some textbooks, would that help change the nation, or there is more to be done? Because curriculum is not just textbooks; it's a very integrated concept.
Yes, I do agree with you. Only textbooks, those are not important, and those are not the only way. There should be textbooks, but textbooks, those are just the preliminary or some fundamental rules, what it set for you, I mean for us. So that's not the single thing. What we have to do for a single national curriculum, that is, we have to change our approach. So it means that for that single curriculum, that's not only necessary to be there in textbooks, but also everywhere in every sector of the society in Pakistan. I mean, and to any office or to any department, if we go there, so we feel it. Another thing, that only not textbooks, but trainings, workshops, and have to change our approaches and attitudes, have to change our behaviors, and have to inculcate the Pakistaniness. I mean, being Pakistani, that thing is important. For those things, we have to look into history. I mean, the Pakistan's history, the history of the creation of Pakistan, and also look to our own societal values, look to our own the religious beliefs, and the because this is important. I mean, religion is the very much common thing among Pakistanis. Being Pakistani, and where now we are united, and also our cultural backgrounds, all these things. So it should be taught, and it should be given their proper and due share. All the cultures in Pakistan, or the languages in Pakistan, those must be promoted, but at least one thing should be there, that Urdu, It is the national language. So everyone should be insisted, or in a way, they should be realized that Urdu is national language. Baki jo hain, your mother tongue, mother language, that's also important. And yes, uh, it can be and it should be promoted.
Regarding the question of language, now people are moving from government schools to private schools, and they are very happy to accept English as their medium of instruction. And we saw in the past that even the government schools, they started advertising themselves as government English medium schools. So it's a problem that is so deeply ingrained in society now that if you establish a very good school and call it an Urdu medium school, people wouldn't even be interested to send their kids to those schools. So
yes, I endorse it. And it is a problem since the creation of Pakistan. It is a problem where we have not been able to tackle it. Frankly speaking, we have not been able to tackle it. And it is a problem of colonialism that even in this decolonial period, we have the same legacy. But let me tell you, English is important language. It is international language. It is, I think, the widely and the most spoken language in the world. But it doesn't mean that advancement or development, it is due to English. I have been in China. The Chinese people, rarely they can speak English. And even the Chinese professors, the PhD doctors and, very high profile professors, even they are hardly they can speak English language. But if you look to China, the Chinese politicians, they hardly speak English. But look to China, half China has been developed. Same is the case with Korea, South Korea. Same is the case with Japan. They hardly speak English language. Even as compared to Pakistan, Pakistanis, they know more English. What is important, that is the sense of nationalism. And that is unfortunately lacking here in Pakistan. And for the sense of nationalism, as I mentioned in my lecture, language is important. I mean, the national language. So I do agree with you. We have to promote it, and all the means and mechanisms what we can do, we can and we should. And I think it is easier for ourselves to learn in our national language, and to stress on national language, to be taught in our national language. It's easy for us. Then after that, no doubt and no problem that if we learn English very well, excellent, why not? We have to learn 10 languages. Nobody can stop us.
Jazakumullah khair. I think we don't have any more questions coming, and perhaps we can close our session today. Many thanks for coming and sharing your valuable thoughts with us. Inshallah, we'll be inviting you again in our future lectures. For all the participants, I thank you all for joining us today. We were live broadcasting this lecture live at our YouTube channel, www.youtube.com/@globalcenterpiece, and our Facebook page, www.facebook.com/globalcenterpiece. The recording of this lecture will be available on our Facebook page and our YouTube channel. And inshallah, we'll be back with you with another exciting lecture by next month. We usually deliver our lectures on the last Saturday of every month. See you all. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Walaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you very much, Sajjad Siddiqui Saab, and all the participants who listened me with patience. And thanks for the beautiful questions. I really enjoyed. Allah Hafiz.
Salam.